Our starting point for our expedition around the world is Orlando, Florida. We meet the rest of the expedition at the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando. We arrive a day early and explore the beautiful property. We have some time for bird watching and photography. In the evening, we meet our fellow travelers for dinner. In the morning, we board the first of many flights, this one to Lima, Peru. We start our collection of souvenirs with baseball hats and journals. The majority of the expedition will be headed to Machu Picchu, and they'll be flying to Cusco in the morning. But a select group will be headed to Trujillo on the northern coast. We get to go to La Rosa Nautica for dinner and the sunset. After a leisurely dinner and a beautiful sunset, we catch a commercial flight from Lima to Trujillo on the northern coast. Our home for 2 nights is the Libertador Hotel on the main plaza in Trujillo. Our first stop is the Temple of the Sun, built by the Moche civilization, which flourished in this valley from 100 BC to 650 AD. The Temple of the Sun is huge, 1,250 feet long, 135 feet high. Today, in 1602, the Spaniards diverted a small river and washed 2/3 of the structure away in search of gold. Overlooking the Temple of the Sun is the Temple of the Moon. From this angle, it doesn't look like much. But inside, where the archaeological excavations are underway, are amazing painted reliefs on adobe. The colors are still vivid today because they've been buried for over 1,500 years. The pyramid is 950 feet by 690 feet. The Moche used it for human sacrifices and other religious purposes. At the visitor center, the cat sleeps as visitors sign the guest book over her head. We meet a Peruvian dog, an ancient breed that goes back at least to Inca times. Back in Trujillo, we visit the archaeological museum and see the pottery that the Moche were famous for. After lunch at Juan Chaco, just north of Trujillo, we get a demonstration of the traditional reed boats that the fishermen use still today. The boats get waterlogged in about 2 weeks of use, but a new one takes only 2 hours to build. The next stop is the adobe city of Chan Chan, capital of the Chimu Empire. The city flourished between 1000 and 1470 AD. It covers 7.7 square miles and had a population of 50,000 or more. The walls, some as high as 26 feet, enclose each of 11 citadels. Each of these palaces has one or more open courtyards with elaborate friezes like this otter motif. Each citadel has extensive storerooms. Archaeologists speculate they were for luxury goods such as textiles and metalwork. Across the square from our hotel is Casa Urquiaga, a colonial house that is now the Central Reserve Bank of Peru, as well as a museum. The bank guard lets us through the gate at the street, and we enter a courtyard in front of the house. Simon Bolivar, the George Washington of Peru, slept here. Back across the square, next to our hotel, is the cathedral and the bishop's palace, dating to the 1600s. Then back to our hotel to reflect on all we've seen, have dinner, and to rest up for another full day tomorrow. In the morning, we board our bus for Chiclayo and more pre-Inca wonders. The Tucume archaeological site covers over 540 acres and contains 26 major pyramids and platforms, all built of adobe. Some of us climb up the slopes of Purgatory Mountain for a better view. Building at Tucume started about 1000 AD and continued until the Spanish arrived in 1532. Centuries of rain, strong winds have melted the walls and the pyramids and damaged painted murals. A highlight of our trip to the north coast of Peru was the Lord of Sapan Museum with amazing golden artifacts. From Chiclayo, we fly to Lima to meet the rest of the group returning from Machu Picchu. In the morning, we have a little time to take in another amazing place, Casa Aliaga. This is the oldest continuously occupied residence in the Western Hemisphere. It was built in 1535 and has been continuously lived in by 17 generations of Aliagas. Our guide Julia introduces us to Geronimo de Aliaga, one of Pizarro's conquistadors who built this house. As you might expect for a place almost 500 years old, there's an amazing collection of antiques from the 16th through the 19th century. The house occupies a city block off the main square in Lima. We only saw the public rooms. There are several courtyards to let air and light in to the house. Now it's time for us to get back on the plane and head west for Easter Island. The treasures we collected while here in Peru included silver picture frames and tiny reed boats.